So, dear students, in solids, in the chapter solids, calculation of number of particles per unit cell are very important, and calculation of packing efficiency are very important. So, in calculating packing efficiency in different cubes, namely simple cubic unit cell, body centered cubic unit cell, and face centered cubic unit cell. So, the figures are very important. So, I observed that some of the students have not written the figures properly, and if you do not write the figures properly, and you cannot arrive at the proper packing efficiency. Therefore, writing the figure along with the instructions is very important. So, if you do not understand, please come to the college and get rectified. So, without understanding, it is not possible to learn properly. Therefore, for any clarification, please come to the college and get it clarified. So, today, the last defect. So, in point defect, mainly there are three defects. Number one, stoichiometric defect, non-stoichiometric defect, and impurity defect. So, in the earlier classes, we have studied stoichiometric defects. In stoichiometric defects, we have studied vacancy defect and interstitial defect. And in non-stoichiometric defects, we have studied metal excess defect and metal deficiency defects. So, today the last defect, namely impurity defect. What is impurity defect? The defect due to the presence of the foreign atom or ion. The defect due to the presence of foreign atom or ion in the crystal is called impurity defect. Impurity defect. So, for example, this is sodium chloride crystal. So, there are sodium ions, chloride ions, sodium ions, chloride ions, sodium ions, etc. Here, chloride ions, sodium ions, chloride ions, sodium ions, chloride ions, Na plus, Cl minus, Na plus, Cl minus, Na plus, Cl minus, Na plus, Cl minus, Na plus, Cl minus. So, sodium and chloride ions are arranged in a definite pattern. So, this is how sodium chloride, Na plus and Cl minus ions are arranged. So, if other atoms, elements of other atoms or ions are present in the crystal, that is what is known as impurity defect. If either strontium or barium ions are present in this crystal, it becomes the foreign atom or ion, and that causes impurity defect. The defect due to the presence of foreign atoms or ions in the crystal. This is the crystal. If other atoms or ions are present in this crystal, that causes impurity defect. So, here these are called lattice sites. What are lattice sites? The sites which are occupied by the particles are called lattice sites, and these are called interstitial sites. Interstitial sites. So, the place occupied by the particle is called lattice sites. The place other than the lattice sites are called interstitial sites. The empty space between the particles is known as interstitial sites or voids. You have known all these things. So, if the impurity is present in the lattice site, so if the impurity is present in these lattice sites, it is called substituted solid solution. It is called substituted solid solution. If the impurity is present in the lattice site, it is called substituted solid solution. Or if the impurity is present in the interstitial site, it is called interstitial solid solution. So, if the impurity is present in the interstitial site, it is called interstitial solid solution. If the impurity is present in the lattice sites, it is called substituted solid solution. For example, when molten sodium chloride containing a little strontium chloride as impurity, when molten sodium chloride containing a little strontium chloride as impurity is cooled, some of the sodium ions are replaced by strontium ions. Some of the sodium ions are replaced by strontium ions, and this causes impurity defect. Say for example, so this is first point. When molten sodium chloride on heating it melts, it is called molten sodium chloride containing a little strontium chloride. Molten sodium chloride containing a little strontium chloride is cooled. What happens? Some of the sodium sites are occupied by strontium ions. So, continue ಮಾಡಿ. Each strontium ion replaces 2 sodium ions. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಶಿಯಂ ಅಯಾನು ಎರಡೆರಡು ಸೋಡಿಯಂ ಅಯಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ವೇಕೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಈಚ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಶಿಯಂ ಅಯಾನ್ ರೀಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ 2 sodium ions to maintain electrical neutrality. So what is the valency of strontium? 2 plus. What is the valency of sodium? 1 plus. So to maintain electrical neutrality, 2 sodium ions are replaced by 1 strontium ion. So when, for example, these sodium ions becomes vacant by the addition of 1 strontium ion, out of these lattice site, one of the site is occupied by strontium ion and the other site remains vacant. So this is vacant site. So, each strontium ion present in the crystal replaces 2 sodium ions. So, 2 sodium ion sites will be vacant, out of which one will be occupied by strontium ion and other lattice site becomes vacant. So, the number of vacant site depends on the number of strontium ions occupied. So, because of the presence of vacant site, the conductivity of the crystal increases. Therefore, vacant sites in the crystal increases conductivity of the solid. So, this is about impurity defect. What is impurity defect? The defect due to the presence of foreign ion or atom in the crystal is called impurity defect. If the impurity is present in the lattice sites, it is called substituted solid solution. Or other hand, if the impurity is present in the interstitial site, it is called interstitial solid solution. For example, when sodium chloride, molten sodium chloride containing a little strontium chloride is cooled, what happens? Some sodium ions are replaced by strontium ions. Each strontium ion replaces 2 sodium ions to maintain electrical neutrality, because the valency of strontium is 2, valency of sodium is 1. So, to maintain electrical neutrality, each strontium ion replaces or vacants 2 sodium ions. So, out of 2 vacants, one of the vacant is occupied by strontium ion and the other site becomes vacant. So, the presence of vacant sites in the crystal increases electrical conductivity. Next, we will study the electrical property of solids. So, based on electrical properties, solids are classified as conductors, insulators and semiconductors. So, write down, based on electrical property, solids are classified into number 1 conductors, number 2 insulators and number 3 semiconductors. So, now we will understand what are conductors. So, the solid which allow maximum amount of electricity to pass through it is called a conductor. The solid which allow maximum amount of electricity to pass through it is called a conductor. Here the conductivity range is of the order of 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7 ohm minus 1, meter minus 1. So, in conductors, the conductivity range is of the order of 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7, ohm minus 1, meter minus 1. Next, examples for conductors, metals. So, in metals, conductivity is due to the presence of mobile electrons. In metals, conductivity is due to the presence of mobile electrons. Example for metals, gold, Ag, copper, Al, Fe, etc. These are conductors. Here in metals, mobile electrons are responsible for the conductivity of electricity. Number 2, in ionic solids like NaCl, KCl, CuSO4, etc., conductivity is due to the mobile ions. So, in ionic conductors, ions are responsible for conductivity. In metals, mobile electrons are responsible for carrying current or for conductivity. Coming to insulators. What are insulators? Insulators, the solids which do not allow electricity to pass through them are called insulators. The solids which do not allow electricity to pass through them are called insulators. In insulators, the conductivity range is of the order 10 to the power of minus 20 to 10 to the power of minus 10, ohm minus 1, meter minus 1. So, examples for insulators. So, solids are sulfur, phosphorus, etc. are solid insulators coming in chemistry. So, these are insulators. Now, coming to another type of solids, namely semiconductors. What are semiconductors? The solids which allow little amount of electricity to pass through them are called semiconductors. The solids which allow little amount of electricity to pass through them are called semiconductors. So, in semiconductors, the conductivity range is of the order of 10 to the power of minus 6 to 10 to the power of 4, ohm minus 1, meter minus 1. So remember the conductivity range. In conductors, the conductivity range is of the order of 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 7 ohm minus 1 meter minus 1. In insulators, the conductivity range is 10 to the power of minus 20 to 10 to the power of minus 10. In semiconductors, the conductivity range is 10 to the power of minus 6 to 10 to the power of 4 ohm minus 1 meter minus 1. So now write down, explain electrical conductivity in conductors, insulators and in semiconductors on the basis of band theory. Explain electrical conductivity in conductors, insulators and in semiconductors on the basis of band theory. So how band theory explains electrical conductivity in conductors, insulators and in semiconductors, let us see. First point, according to band theory, atomic orbitals of metal atoms form molecular orbitals. All the atomic orbitals of all the metal atoms form molecular orbitals which have energy almost same, whose energy is almost same and form what is called bands. According to this theory, atomic orbitals of all the atoms combine to form molecular orbitals whose energy is so close. The energy between the molecular orbitals are very close, almost same, and they form what is called as bands. So the bands are of two types of bands. Second point, the highest occupied band, lower energy band. The highest occupied, lower energy band is called valence band. It is VB, and the lowest occupied higher energy band called conduction band. It is called CB. So I will write like this. So all atomic orbitals combine to form molecular orbitals. These molecular orbitals are very close in energy. They form what is called as bands. These are bands. Bands are of two types. The highest occupied, here the maximum number of electrons are there, it is called highest occupied, and lower energy. So when compared to, this is energy, this is lower energy band, this is higher energy band. Lower energy, in lower energy band, the occupancy of electrons is highest. This is highest occupied lower energy band is called valence band. It is called VB. So lowest occupied higher energy band is called conduction band. Conduction band. So this is CB. So atomic orbitals combine to form molecular orbitals whose energy is very close, therefore they form what is called as bands. There are two types of bands. Lower energy band, which is highly occupied, is called valence band. Higher energy band, which is occupied lowest, the density is less, is called conduction band. So then third point, the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is called forbidden zone. Forbidden zone. So this energy gap, this is called energy gap. This energy gap between valence band and the conduction band is called forbidden zone. Is called forbidden zone. So this is third point. So valence band, lower energy, highly occupied, and the higher energy band, which is lowest occupied, called conduction band. The energy difference between valence band and the conduction band is called forbidden zone. So based on these ideas, now we will differentiate what are conductors, insulators and semiconductors. So based on these ideas, now we will define what are conductors, insulators and semiconductors. In conductors, what happens? The valence band is partially filled. The valence band may be partially filled, or second condition, the valence band overlaps with conduction band, or the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is negligible, then the electrons can easily jump from valence band to conduction band, and the solids become good conductor. They are called conductors. So in conductors, the valence band may be partially filled, or this valence band overlaps with the conduction band, or if the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is very less, it is called they are called conductors. So I will write the figures for these conductors. So this is So this is valence band. Here it is partially filled. So this is valence band and this one conduction band, which are overlaps, with one another. So this is in case of conductors. So conductors, valence band is half filled. This is the energy. Valence band is half filled. Here valence band overlaps with conduction band. So this forms conductors. This is in case of conductors. So then coming to insulators. In insulators, the energy gap between valence band and the conduction band, is very high. Therefore, the electrons cannot jump from valence band to conduction band, and the solids become insulators. Since there are no free electrons. So this is in case of conductors. So here in case of insulators, this is conduction band and this one is valence band. And this one is conduction band. The energy gap is high. Energy gap or forbidden zone is high. Therefore, electrons which are present in valency band cannot jump to conduction band, and since there are no free electrons, the solids becomes insulators. So this is insulators. And then coming to semiconductors. Here semiconductors. So in semiconductors, this is the valence band which is highly occupied by electrons, and this one is the conduction band. This is valence band, this one is conduction band. This is valence band and this one is conduction band. So energy gap is less. Therefore, by the supply of little amount of energy in the form of heat, these electrons can easily jump from valence band to conduction band, and the conductivity of the semiconductors increases. So in semiconductors, the energy gap is less, and hence electrons can easily jump from valence band to conduction band with the supply of little energy bracketal in the form of heat. Therefore, they become conductors. At higher temperature. So this is the main difference between conductors, insulators and semiconductors based on band theory. So according to band theory, atoms forms two types of bands, valence band and conduction band. Depending upon the energy gap between valence band and conduction bands, solids are classified into conductors, insulators and semiconductors. In conductors, the energy gap is very negligible, or they contain only half-filled valency bands, or the valency band overlaps with the conduction band, or the energy gap is very negligible. In such a case, electrons can easily move from valence band to conduction band and the solids becomes conductors. In insulators, the energy gap between valence band and conduction band is very large. Therefore, electrons cannot easily move from valence band to conduction band and the solids becomes insulators. In semiconductors, the energy gap is less. Electrons can easily move from valence band to conduction band by the supply of energy in the form of heat. Therefore, semiconductors becomes conductors by increase of temperature. So this is the difference between in conductors, insulators and semiconductors. Why the electrical conductivity of metals, why the electrical conductivity of metals decreases with increase of temperature. Why the electrical conductivity of metals decreases with increase of temperature, or resistance increases with increase of temperature. So why electrical conductivity of metals decreases with increase of temperature, or resistance increases with increase in temperature. So according to electron C model of metals, so in metals there are metal ions. So metal atoms, after losing the valence electrons, are converted into positively charged ions which are called kernels. So these are metal ions. So mobile electrons are moving. These are the electrons, mobile electrons. So what are these are called? These are called kernels or positive ions. Atoms of metals, after losing the valence electrons, converted into positively charged ions. They are also called as kernels. So these positively charged ions are in a pool of negatively charged electrons. This is the situation in case of metals. So these positively charged ions or kernels are in fixed position, and they are vibrating in their fixed position. So when the temperature is increased, what happens? The vibration of the fixed positive ions increases. The vibration of the kernels increases, which hinders the free movement of the electrons. Therefore, conductivity decreases. When temperature is increased, the vibration of the kernels in the fixed position increases, which hinders the free movement of the electrons, and as a result the conductivity of the metal decreases and its resistance increases. So write down, in metals, comma, the positive ions, they are also called as kernels, or in a fixed position. These kernels are vibrating in their fixed position. Vibrating in their fixed position. First up, when temperature is increased, comma, the vibration of the positive ions increases. Positive ions means kernels, increases, which hinders, which resists or hinders the free movement of the electrons, and hence the conductivity of the metals decreases and its resistance increases with increase in temperature. Next we will learn what are intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors. What are intrinsic and extrinsic semiconductors? So first we will know intrinsic semiconductors. So what are intrinsic semiconductors? The pure form of semiconductors are called intrinsic semiconductors. Pure form of semiconductors are called intrinsic semiconductors, or semiconductors whose conductivity increases with increase in temperature. Semiconductors whose conductivity increases with increase in semiconductors are called increases with increase in temperature are called intrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors. So why increase of temperature increases conductivity in semiconductors? Because increase of temperature increases the number of electrons moving from valence band to conduction band, since the energy gap in semiconductor is less. So increase of temperature increases the number of electrons moving from valence band to conduction band, since the energy gap is less. Example, silicon Si, its energy gap is equal to 111 kilojoules. Number one. Number two, germanium Ge, its energy gap is also less, 63. So silicon and germanium are the elements which are called intrinsic semiconductors, because these are the pure form of semiconductors whose conductivity can be increased by increasing the temperature, since the energy gap is very less. Extrinsic semiconductors. What are extrinsic semiconductors? So for the definition you have to write this: doped semiconductors are called extrinsic semiconductor. So pure form of semiconductors are called intrinsic semiconductors. In intrinsic semiconductors, conductivity can be increased by increasing the temperature. So another form of semiconductors are called extrinsic semiconductors. Extrinsic semiconductors are those which are doped. Doped semiconductors are called extrinsic semiconductors. So when semiconductors are mixed with impurity elements, when semiconductors are mixed with impurity elements having either electron rich or electron deficient. When semiconductors are mixed with, semiconductors means when intrinsic semiconductors are mixed with impurity elements having either electron rich or electron deficient, the conductivity increases. This is what is known as doping. So when semiconductors are mixed with impurity elements having either electron rich or electron deficient, the conductivity increases. This is known as doping. I will tell you what is doping later on. Then the mixture of intrinsic semiconductor along with the impurity element added. The mixture of intrinsic semiconductor along with the impurity element added is called extrinsic semiconductor. Semiconductors, which are called doped semiconductors. So semiconductors are intrinsic semiconductor which are mixed with impurity elements which are having either electron rich or electron deficient, is called doping, doped semiconductors are called extrinsic semiconductors.